let's see here. Through the magic of Wi-Fi, we are about to be live here in a couple seconds. We see the circle turning, and we are there now. We are actually live, and we have the football game on behind us. You watch the football game, Rich? The Rams and the Cowboys?
No, I'm not a football fan.
Oh, no Rams?
I'm a soccer fan and a tennis fan, and I watch baseball whenever I can, but not football.
So are you an Angel fan or a Dodger fan?
Dodger, yeah.
Okay.
Dodger's a good team.
It's kind of like New York. Are you a Mets fan or
Mets or Yankees, right. Chicago, you got the Sox or the Cubs.
Right.
You know, it's like in Germany in soccer,
Yeah.
when they ask you what side you're on, you always say, I don't care who wins as long as Munich doesn't win.
That's their Cowboys or Yankees then.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same about the Yankees with me.
That's great.
Well, a lot of people are like that with the Cowboys since we did call ourselves America's team. That's a little braggadocious.
Same thing.
You either love the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
München, Cowboys, Yankees. You could probably say Duke basketball. You could probably say Novak Djokovic, maybe, lately at least.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we are so happy to have Rich Neher on the show. Craig Bell is next to me, about to do the intro, and we're just happy to be here. This is a tremendous Sunday of tennis after a pretty crazy Sunday of tennis at the U.S. Open last week. So maybe those things come up today, but we've got a really packed agenda for 3 sets of great talk about tennis club business, the book that Rich Neher has written, and his journey from being one of the most hated practice partners in his circle to one of the most sought after, from what I'm hearing. So that's all that stuff is so engaging for me, and I can't wait. Craig, what do you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich, if you give us about a minute and a half,
okay,
we're going to set this thing up, and then we'll bring you in here in about, like I said, a minute and a half. We're going to play the music, and then off we go. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, hold on just a second. I got it. There we go.
There it is.
Okay, and Jimmy Campbell, here we go.
Hello, you are at the net. And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
All right, thanks. Go out to our At the Net podcast girl. That would be Margot Carter, the great Margot Carter, for that. The word of the night, spectacular oso.
Are you going Spanish on me?
No, Italian.
Okay.
Spectacular oso.
I love it.
That's it. I always come up with a new word.
You always
night.
do.
Yeah, so that's a great introduction. Spectacular oso introduction. And welcome, fans of the great game. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 58.
58.
58, that's pretty good. Do you know how to say 58 in Italian?
I probably could come up with it, but what my mind is going to is we're still Season 1, and we're Episode 58. That's got to be more than one per week.
Right.
I don't know how we're doing this.
Well, we're on the same cycle. We'll never get off season
fiscal
1.
years, yeah.
Right, all right. At the Net Podcast. We're At the Net Podcast with AJ Chabria. That's you, right?
What's up, everybody?
And CB1, that's me. And we are talking the great game of tennis as it
seems to us.
Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be Darian D. Mac McBrayer and Dave the Brain DeLeo. They're real people, aren't they?
They're a real deal.
Okay. They're the back of the house guys who are really on the soundboards, moving the dials and buttons to make it sound like real people. But tonight I'm kind of quasi there. With
Craig Bell is co-host and producer. We really just see those guys in post-production now when these things all go to the pod platforms.
Right. But tonight I guess I'm live and do some production work with the Roadcaster down below. Also, be sure to check out our good work on Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. Basically, that's all the important communication sites that the kids find popular today, right?
That's it.
All right. And if you're a female and would like to read the opening intro for our At the Net podcast, just like Margot did, be an At the Net girl, let us know, because we're always looking for new female voices, right? Even in a foreign language,
Absolutely.
right?
And Margot was speaking foreign language, England. Yeah, the English of England, the actual one.
She's bringing proper.
Yeah, the King's, the Queen's English, right.
Right. Well, we have a spectacular person of interest on the other line tonight. That would be the great Rich Neher from L.A., California, right? Are you there, Rich?
I am.
Well, we're glad to have you here tonight, joining us on the At the Net podcast. How are you doing out there in California?
I'm doing well. Do you want to hear how 58 sounds in German?
Yeah, yes, 58. What would 58 be in German?
Okay.
Yeah.
58.
Achtun.
Acht meaning 8. 50. 50. So it's 850 is how they would say it over there. It's beautiful. Acht, and then und meaning and then 50. Is that right? Sick. Yeah.
Gesundheit. Yeah. That's what I know. I know Gesundheit. Well, we're definitely glad to have Rich on the other line, and obviously he is a big name in our industry, AJ, wouldn't you say?
Big deal.
He is really big. He's a writer, author, also principal consultant for the LA-based tennis media group. I know him through Tennis Club Business because I read his monthly email cover to cover every month. I've been enjoying that. How long have you been doing that now, Rich? Maybe 6, 7 years, 10 years?
Since January 2014.
2014, yeah. So I've saved believe it or not, I have every edition saved in my AOL file under Tennis Club Business. I've been reading it every month, and I get some great ideas from you.
I am humbled.
No, I like your stuff. I mean, I really, what I think of you is as a thinker. You're not just following the company line, but you're making people think about the great game, and that's always a good thing in my opinion. Because if you just tout the company line and nobody's there on the other side of the equation, then it becomes stagnant. And you bring up some excellent points all the time with Tennis Club Business. So if those of you who don't know about Tennis Club Business, Rich, where can they reach that at? Just before we get going and starting up, just tell us a little bit about where people can find your monthly newsletter.
Our motto is Maverick, don't toe the line. And the website is tennisclubbusiness.com.
I also want to alert the people at home, whether they are tennis coaches, administrators, directors, or GMs of clubs, or tennis clubs as the name implies, or they are players or fans or recreational players or parents of players. There's a lot to learn here tonight, and I'm looking forward to digging in, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, Rich is also executive director of the California Social Tennis Network. That sounds like a lot of fun, a lot of socializing going on.
Is that the Friday night stuff, Rich?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Then also you've directed a club. You've been a GM at a tennis club in the LA area. You've also worked in San Diego for what I think this is really fascinating, the Active Network, which does a lot of the USTA Tennis Link back of the house stuff, which that's a huge operation that you were part of, being a technical account manager for Tennis Link. And getting ready, I guess the USTA is getting ready to change over at the beginning of the year. Tennis Link, is Tennis Link going to be around, or is it going to?
Yeah, Tennis Link, as we know it, will be over.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yes, it was 4 years of getting to know the USTA and all in 17 sections. Actually, I traveled to all the sections, and I trained all the section league coordinators and their local coordinators on local league rules and on NTRP ratings.
I mean, that right there would be a 3-hour topic right there. Talking about NTRP ratings, how that comes up. I think you can balance the U.S. federal budget easier than you can probably talk about NTRP ratings, can't you? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. But I do like UTR as well, I have to admit.
This is 2-3 weeks in a row. Our guests have spoken highly positively about universal tennis rating. That's neat.
Oh no, I think I think the USTA missed the boat on UTR as a couple other things that they've done in the past. Let's put it that way. I think they're in good hands. Hopefully, here in the next few years with Mike Dowse. I think he's done an excellent job. We were just watching the U.S. Open. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But let's talk about your background. Let's go to the first set. This is set one. We call segment one or set one. What's your background in tennis? How'd you enjoy start playing the great game? Were you over in Germany at one time? Were you playing tennis as a young lad, or were you?
Actually, no, not at all. Germany is a weird animal when it comes to tennis. You know, there are no public tennis courts. At least there weren't any until I moved here in 1985. Tennis was always a sport for the well-off people. So I had no reason to look into this and no abilities to play tennis. I played soccer like every other good German. And when I came over in 1985, one of my neighbors in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, that's where I moved to. He was a German, and he played tennis very badly, but he taught me anyway. And I learned all the bad habits from him.
And
So,
Downingtown is near Philadelphia, right? Eastern PA?
Yeah, near Philadelphia, near the Amish area as well.
Which they call Pennsylvania Dutch, but it's really Pennsylvania Deutsch, right?
That's Pennsylvania Deutsch, yeah. You could say that. So I learned a little bit from him, and in 1991 I moved to California, and I played a little more, and I joined a tennis club in the San Diego area called the Bobby Riggs Tennis Club.
Famous man.
He used to own that club, yes.
Yeah, that was a great club for a long time. That that Bobby ended up. How many years was that? That was around forever. I mean,
That was around from the, I would say,
at the time.
I must ask you, how did you become a good player?
I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I was an asshole on the tennis court. Can I say that on the?
It's a podcast, and we do have the beeping and the little things like this. We have that stuff, but I don't need it. You can say it. That was fine.
Yeah, I was not only a bad player, but I made everyone else around me feeling bad because I blamed everyone else for my mistakes. So I thought I was a 4-0 player, but in reality I was not even a 3-0. And it was so bad that one day I played 3-5 league, mixed doubles league with my then girlfriend, and I behaved so badly on the court. She ran out of me and said she will never play with me again in the middle of a league match.
Your tennis and your attitude were so bad, you were broken up with on a tennis court.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice at the time how bad this really was until my best friend Donnie, he came to me and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." He said, "I have good news and bad news for you." What do you want to hear first? And I said, "Give me the bad news."
Of course,
He said, "The bad news is at the Bobby Riggs Tennis Club, no one wants to play with you anymore." And I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
I did not realize what was happening. So I was completely shocked, and I couldn't believe it because I thought I was such a good player. So I said to Donnie, "What's the good news?" And he said, "The good news is I will teach you 2 things. And then you can go back to the club." And he said, "I'm going to teach you how to become a better player, and I'm going to teach you people skills." And he did this for about 3 months. We were just hitting at a public park, and he taught me a few people skills. And after 3 months, he said, "So now you're ready to go back." And I went back to Bobby Riggs, and I started playing. And within about 4 weeks, everyone wanted to play with me.
Really? You transformed your character and people skills, your personality, with just those little bit of sort of lessons.
Yeah. He told me what to do and what not to do, and how to be complementary to your partner, how to build your partner up instead of tearing them down all the time. And how to continually improve my tennis, not just sitting there and thinking you're the best, but go ahead and take more clinics, take more lessons, and improve all the time. That's what he taught me. That's what I did.
Man, and folks at home, we're taking this as tennis lessons, life lessons, but weirdly, this is almost turning political. Like he's describing things that are going to help our whole world,
Sure.
not just our country. It's great.
Yeah. In tennis, it's so important to work well with your partner, to create a plan and click with your partner. That's the German word. Click with him or her, and make sure they play as they have as much fun as you do. And I learned something else during these 4 weeks, and afterwards I learned something that helped me all my life now. And this was, when I play better, I have more fun. And when I have more fun, I play better.
Kind of goes hand in hand.
It all goes together, yes. And today I play better. I'm a pretty good 4-0. I can hold myself with a 4-5. But I don't care with whom I play. I'll always try and have fun, and I build up my partner.
Yeah, that's great advice for.
That's huge.
Not just on the tennis court, but there's some other parts of life that we all need to have fun and have a good time and build up the other person, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start more fun on the court, and my organizing matches for the members of the court went really well. And until management changed at this court, and the new manager, he didn't want me to do this anymore. So I said, I like it. I like organizing tennis matches for other people. And I started to create a group in the North County, San Diego area. I called it the San Diego Tennis Network. And I organized the drop-in tennis for people at different clubs. We had up to 5 tennis drop-in events every week, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, and at really good clubs like La Costa Resort, Rancho Valencia Resort, Morgan Run Resort, and so forth. And it was the most fun I ever had.
Yeah, all beautiful places with clientele that were probably very excited to have you run stuff rather than maybe rather than having a tennis pro who wasn't as skilled at it as you were, huh?
No, tennis pros, they are skilled, of course, but they want to make everyone happy, which is a problem in this drop-in tennis business. You can't make everyone happy. You have to make up your mind who you want to make happy. And tennis pros, of course, when they are on the court all day long, it's hard for them to be cheerful and happy from 7 to 9 in the evening. I realize that. So, but when you do it right, you can be so successful. Picture this. La Costa Resort in Carlsbad, California. They used to have 24 courts, I think, but only 7 were lighted, right? So on a Friday night, when everyone said you can never get a group together on a Friday night, I had up to 60 players play with me on 7 courts on Friday night.
You filled all the lit courts, and did the management say, hey, let's light more courts? This guy's lighting it up.
They didn't want to do that.
Okay.
But we had but that 5 game sets, for instance, and everyone and every court was turned around pretty quickly. So it worked very, very well. And afterwards, we all went out for drinks and food.
That's amazing.
That's
Well, you sound like an activities coordinator. Do you want to move to Dallas? I've got a job.
That's right.
Here at Bent Tree Country Club, we could use you.
Virtually all the clubs,
Yeah, no, that's you start thinking about. I'm sure you worked really hard, diligent. Tried to set the pairings up, get an even number of people. That takes a lot of work. I mean, you start really learning about people skills and people management.
That's one of the secret sauces in my book. You don't have to have an equal number of people.
You don't.
You just have to realize you have to play yourself, of course, and you have to have the ability to always take yourself in or out. When it's an uneven number of people, I play.
Yeah.
When it's an even number of people, I don't play. So not a lot of people can do this. A lot of people just want to always play, and then that can create a problem if you already have an equal number of people. And no one ever sits out when I do drop-in tennis. So that's one of the secret sauces. You have to be able to take yourself in or out and make sure that no one sits out and everyone is happy. As long as you do the matchups according to the level.
That's a huge key. And our last question within this first set, it seems like a good time to talk about drop-in tennis, not just the concept, but the actual book that you wrote. Besides the secret sauce of having you as the flexible administrator who's ready to play or also not play and sit out, tell us a couple more nuggets from that book. And like Craig always says, tell us how to find that book. I think it's on Kindle, right? Amazon?
It's on Amazon and in paperback and in Kindle form. It's called Drop-In Tennis Secrets.
Secrets, yeah. So give us some more. So give us a couple more nuggets, like the flexibility of you running it and playing it as a fill-in. What are some like? What's the? Give us a like a big view, overarching theme of it, and how it is so or has been so successful for you and people who've read your book.
Yeah. The most important secret sauce I can tell you right now, and that's the reason why other groups may not be as successful. I know of other groups that have come and gone and tried the same thing, but they don't realize this most important secret sauce. As a matter of fact, when I moved from San Diego up to the LA area, a group of the players in my group down there, and they took over the San Diego Tennis Network, and they tried to make it work, but they forgot this most important aspect of it. And within like 2 or 3 years, the group fell apart completely. We had over 200 players, and they fell completely apart. And the most important thing is you have to choose your level. And you have to, I always say it this way, you have to treat everyone in your group equally, but you have to treat your better players better, because they are the reason why people come to play with you. If your better players stay away because you don't give them good matches, your group will fall apart in every single case.
This advice is big, and it does fly in the face of a lot of conventional wisdom.
Right. Yeah, I've gone to drop-in tennis in other clubs in the area here in the Los Angeles Burbank area. Very nice tennis pros running this, very good tennis pros, but they make everyone happy. So they have a 4-5 player play with a beginner against 2-3-5, for instance, and that's a big mistake. It will never work. It will, within a few weeks, all the good players will stay away from that drop-in. And as I will say it again, they are the reason that people come to the group, the good players.
Because everybody wants to play with a good player.
Yeah.
And do you think that our sport lacks the handicap like in golf? I mean, golf is the greatest, I think, one of the greatest sports you can handicap. If you're a single-digit handicap and I'm a 20 handicap, we can get out there and play. Tennis hadn't seemed to found that happy medium. It seems like, you hear about BIS points, or you hear about you start 30 love up, or, things like that. That just really hasn't come into our sport. But what you're saying through all your social interaction, is there a way to handicap that you found?
No. We haven't been able to, I haven't tried to handicap people. But, of course, there's something else on the horizon now that is probably the best equalizer out there, almost like in handicap, and that's the UTR system. You see, if you are UTR rated, you are rated within a system that is genderless and ageless. So a 14-year-old girl with the same UTR number as a 35-year-old man will have a competitive match against this man.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
That's a great equalizer that's coming into tennis now, and more clubs and more organizations are running UTR.
Right. Yeah, UTR seems to be well on the fast track to becoming the preferred method over NTRP or USTA or whatever we want to call it at the moment. It seems like that UTR has found the sweet spots, so to speak, whether you live in Europe or whether you live in the United States or whether you live in, in Australia. That seems like the preferred way that the rating system's going. Yeah, because I know they're really popular in the Dallas area. I don't know about UTR in the California area, but is UTR picking up speed in the California area as well?
Yeah, everywhere. They're creating tournaments everywhere. UTR would not only be a great equalizer here, but you mentioned Europe. If I, for instance, look at tennis in Germany, which is so different to the tennis here, they don't have a rating system. For them, it's all rankings. So in order to find out if you're a 4-5 and want to play against a German, he wouldn't know what a 4-5 is. So, but if you're all UTR rated, no problem anymore. This is the biggest equalizer out there right now.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, so German tennis really hasn't changed much, it sounds like, since you've been. Are there public courts now? Or are people? I'm sure people are playing. I mean, obviously with the popularity of German tennis with Becker and Stieck and
Steffi Graf.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be going pretty well. Are there public courts now in Germany?
I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I'm always saying, and I hope you don't have any German listeners right now. I'm always. Okay. Germans don't know how to have fun on the tennis court. For them, it's playing really hard to get the club championship and to move up to the next league and then to the next league and then to the next higher league. And when they finish their match, the fun begins in the pub. Every club, that's where they have fun, but not on the court.
Oktoberfest. They're all ready for Oktoberfest, right?
Well, CB, let's end set one, head into set two. One of our questions, one of our concepts in set two was some of the differences in the way tennis is seen back in Germany versus here. I think Rich has already kind of done a nice job of enumerating some differences, but Rich, tell us a little bit about how tennis is seen rather than how it's run here in the States, and what your impression is as, you're not really new to it, but what your impression is as a guy who started only 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, tennis is seen by different groups as in different ways for different groups. Lately, I've looked a lot into, because of what's going on in this country, I've looked into how African Americans are looking at tennis. And here is an interesting phenomenon that we call this sport the white sport, and don't realize that African Americans don't necessarily like that saying. So tennis for them has different meanings than it does for us. And it is in many cases not realistic to think that some people in the black population can easily pick up tennis like it is for us. It's not a cheap sport at all, and it is not available everywhere. There's not a lot of public courts where everyone can just go and play tennis. Tennis, at the same time, is not a welcoming sport. Tennis is a sport that is shutting itself off against newcomers. I'll give you an example. The first time I ever saw pickleball in the Palm Desert area in the desert, I walked up to this public place where four pickleball courts were set up on one tennis court, and so I walked up to them, and this woman, she saw me come in. She realized I've never been there. She didn't know me, so she came to the fence and said, "Come on in and play with us. We have a paddle for you." Do you think this would ever happen in tennis?
Not recently.
No. That level of inclusion and friendliness is it's quite a bit more rare in tennis. Even though we love tennis and we call it the great game, there's a lot of stratification and a little less of that inclusion.
Most people probably go, "What are you doing here? What do you need?"
Just
the opposite.
So there's a lot for improvement, a lot of room for improvement. And the Tennis Industry Association, they're always throwing these numbers at us, the numbers of the of players who are sitting on the fence waiting to come in. For like the last 20, 30 years, they're telling us there's 20 million players or so, or 17 or 15 or 25 million players who they call latent demand, who are sitting there waiting to come in, but no one knows why they're not coming in, and no one does anything about it.
They're just waiting for an invitation. They're just waiting for Rich Neher to give them a call so they can come play on Friday night.
I tell you guys, there's so much room for improvement in tennis. We are looking at the African American population. That's 44 million African Americans, and only 1.64 million play tennis. So much room to get more black players in, and it's even with the Hispanic population, and there's so much potential to get millions and millions more players into tennis. We just have to do it right.
I agree. I think like what you said, you hit the nail right on the head. Is you've got to be friendly or welcome. I know we've all talked about it, but Adrian and I have been club pros, and I think that's why we've been fairly successful at our clubs. But overall, the community centers, the places where there aren't people like us around, or like you, Rich, to be honest, those places have to have some people who are friendly, welcoming, just like the lady who was playing pickleball. It's like, hey, come on over. What are you doing?
And
we need you now.
And not just administrators, but like her players on the actual courts.
That's correct. Yeah. That's what I was referring to.
And that tone is set by the Craig Bell, the Rich Neher. Like that tone is set by the guys in charge. Rich, sorry, I cut you off. You were about to say?
Yep. When things happen, when the sport is more welcoming, then things happen. I interviewed a guy here, a black gentleman, probably like 5 years ago or so. Here in this area, he was a homeless man, and he lived in the bushes behind a church in the North Hollywood area. And the bushes were right next to a public tennis court with like 3 or 4 courts. And he watched them play. And one of the players there, he always saw him sitting in the bush watching them. So he went up to him and put a racket in his hand and says, "Do you want to play with us?" And make a long story short, they after a few weeks, they gave him some shoes and stuff. And after about 2 years, he was a 5-all self-taught 5-0.
That is so beautiful.
Interesting.
And he wins all the ladders here in the area.
Man, that's a great success story. And, there are probably, let's say, 30 or 40 of those in a huge city, Los Angeles. But what can we do to make this 50 million of these stories, Yeah,
we have to get together and do it. And I have I'm pretty optimistic about that.
Yeah,
Since the is about to change a little bit lately. I'm pretty optimistic that things will happen.
Things will happen. I think COVID is awful and difficult, but it has underscored how great a distanced way of exercising outdoors tennis can be, and even indoors for that matter. Rich, let's switch gears a little bit and give us your take on how COVID can be, I hate to say capitalized or used, but how we can navigate COVID really well and vault tennis to greater heights than it has been in the past couple decades.
Well, similar to Mike Dowser at the USTA, who had the opportunity during COVID to make some changes that he may not have been able to do if it was a regular season. We have the opportunity to now not only point out to everyone that tennis is the safest sport around here, but capitalize on it. Really create some a movement to show people tennis is safe, it's healthy, it's good for you, and it is fun.
Preach, Rich. Beautiful.
If we can achieve that, I'm always talking tribe. If I was the USTA, I would create this tribe, this tennis tribe. I want to make every kid in this country say, "Wow, what a cool tribe! I want to belong to that tribe." And every parent of those kids I want them to say, man, this is such a great sport. I want to play that sport. And we should be able to achieve that.
Yeah, it seems like that we had a great U.S. Open. I think the USTA did a really
I don't know how they did it.
fine job of putting forth. They were the first guys to say, we're going to do tennis. And, they actually did it pretty well. Do you think that USTA did a pretty good job for the Open, Rich?
Big compliment to them. Big compliment. Me, I'm always pretty not quite towing the line with the USTA, but I have to say, big compliment. They did a really good job, and I'm going to write about that in the October newsletter as well.
I think you give people a fair opinion. Actually, like I said, I've read all your monthly newsletters, and like I said, I agree with you on many topics. And you call a spade, and if it needs to be called out, then it's called out. And I think a lot of what USTA is going through right now is because of you and your team, that you have writers and people who throw opinions out there. I mean, because conversation's good whether you like it or not.
No question.
There are always two sides to every story.
Sometimes three.
Yeah, maybe three, maybe four. But Rich, like I said, compliments to you on your. What you do is really thought-provoking, and I think that USTA is in the thought-provoking stage now, because you rattled a few doors and knocked on the door and said, hey, look, let's look at this in a different way, because what you're doing is not necessarily successful for the masses. It's only developed a few players. I didn't really ever know what their end game was, and not to throw fire on the USTA, because they've done a great job with the U.S. Open. I thought it was really spectacular.
Yeah.
That was remarkable. Rich, if I were to use 4 words to describe your newsletter, I would say it's positive, it's firm, it's fair, and it's innovative. Tell us some things that are positive, firm, and fair, and innovative that USPTR and USPTA tennis professionals can do, or the USTA can improve now, and in general, in the USA, to ensure a bright future for this sport.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at a tennis boom towards the end of 2020, and certainly in 2021. Insiders have no doubt about that. We're looking at a tennis boom. What we need to do now is we need to make tennis more welcoming, and all 3 of those organizations can do their part to do that. The clubs, the tennis professionals in their clubs, the USTA with all their sections and all their organizations they support, and the club facility members they have, they can make tennis more welcoming and create that tribe. I think they should go for it. They should go out with an all-out marketing campaign to make sure people realize what's going on. Forget many of the other sports, especially during times when we have a pandemic, or the effects of a pandemic. We can do more to tell people that this is the safest sport. This is the sport that makes the most fun. And come on in. We have a racket for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I agree 1,000% that I think we've got a lot of great things on the horizon, because I've known at my club where people just wanted to play tennis. And I heard through the sources that pre-strung rackets, ball sales were up, so that's always a good from a public standpoint. I've been in the private industry for a number of years, and basically it's been all my life, adult life, in the private sector. But I'm always interested when I drive around to see if people are playing on park courts, high school courts, college courts, where there's no pro. And it looks like I see a lot of people just out there hitting the ball around and enjoying the great games. That's probably the same thing in California too, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Yep. And racket sales must be up, because Head just renewed their ad in tennis club business for the sixth time.
Sixth time.
I love it. Hey, speaking of Head rackets, not just in the way of giving a plug, which Head do you use? Prestige, Speed, which one?
I use the Prestige Pro. This is my racket, and I love it.
Awesome. That's a beauty. That's I used the mid version of that in the 90s, and the feel and the touch, and it's heavy and powerful. It's just I love that thing, and I still do.
Yeah, we have one of the lead dogs for Head North America coming on in about a month.
That's right, Kevin Kempin. He's a huge name.
Yes.
He wears the same hat sometimes that Craig is wearing right now, the old Flying W of Weber State.
That's right. Yes.
Was he on the tennis team?
Right the year before I got there.
Okay, so he was 1 year or a couple years older than you.
We're basically about the same age. I sat out a year and went to junior college for a couple of years, but Kevin well, and I'm sure you know Kevin, so we'll tell him to give you some more money.
Yeah, or at least some more prestigious, right?
Right. in about a month, we'll say, hey, Rich needs a couple more prestige. You need to throw a couple of bones his way.
I don't. I have two. That's enough for me.
Well, they're a very nice company, and they're going places. Andy Murray plays with that. Sasha Zverev.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people who play with
Novak.
Say again.
Oh, Novak
Yes.
Djokovic.
Yeah, he plays with the speed.
Yeah, he plays with some secret amazing thing, whatever it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has that liquid that won him the 4th and 5th sets in Australia. That magic potion, I think that's in there too.
It is the secret sauce.
Yeah, it's secret sauce, like Rich says. Yeah.
So, quick question.
Tequila.
Just tequila.
That's what it is.
Quick question. Just your thoughts on Novak and his situation. I've heard a lot of different opinions. I'm of the ilk that he got what he deserved. Are you in that camp? What do you think about Novak and that decision by USTA?
Well, I'm a big Novak fan, of course. The rules are the rules, but I have to agree with Cliff Drysdale. Cliff Drysdale always tells me how much he enjoys my newsletter. And so I agree with him. He says there may have been a better way than sending him home. But I have to say the rules are the rules, and if the rules say that's what you have to do, that's probably what you have to do. It wasn't too good for the U.S. Open, but it was very good for the two finalists, wasn't it?
It was good for Pablo Carreño Busta.
Yeah.
It was definitely good for Sasha and Dominic for sure.
Right. Sasha didn't have to play Novak maybe in the semifinals. He got to the finals. That was a good match. That was
He'll live, he'll survive. He'll live. He'll be coming back in the French Open.
Oh, he is a stoic, competitive son of a gun, and he will be back many, many times to win many more titles. Yeah.
I'm not worried about his next meal.
Not worried about that guy.
No, he'll be okay. I think it was a tough decision, I'm sure, on many fronts, but I think the rules are the rules, and I know that I caught a little bit of flack on social media for my hard stance, but I was like, hey, come on, the guy, you hit somebody like that, and even though she was fine, I think afterwards. The point is that you're professional, and the only thing that I was really disappointed in Novak is he didn't go to the press conference, the presser, as they say.
That was not classy.
Yeah, I was cringing when they showed footage of him. Instead of being in the room, in the press room, he was getting in the Tesla on the way to the hotel, and it was just bad look.
Yeah, that's the difference between him and people like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. They are classy guys.
Yeah,
necessarily always classy.
I think I referred to Novak as a champion, but he's not the people's champion. Unfortunately, Roger and Rafa, get that idea.
It's true, and very tough act to follow with Rafa and Roger.
Oh, yeah. As good as those two have been, and to be gentlemen like they are, you don't see them in that situation. I'm sure they might have been at one time, but you haven't seen that in their professional careers, and certainly on television. They haven't been that expressive, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And not owned up to it.
And Novak is listening to this like, those guys and the ITF need to listen to Rich Neher about welcoming me. Like, nobody's at the fence saying, Novak, here's a racket, come on in. They're very unwelcoming to Novak. It's very sad. So I'm sort of...
You know what the Rafa, Nadal, and the Roger Federer fans are saying? They say, we are neutral. We don't care who beats Novak.
That's right. Just we're glad he's out. Yeah.
Roger's like a Swiss bank. We are neutral. We don't care whose money we will earn interest from.
That's right.
Yes.
Just send us your money. Right.
And Rafa's like, well, I'm going to train on clay. No, I don't. It does not matter, affect me much at all. No, I'm going to Rome now. So it's well, those two sets were brought to us by Master Systems, who do fantastic work with not just tennis courts, but Rich mentioned some pickleball, basketball, all the other kinds of things with a net. And CB1, we got to go into the third set here.
Right. Yeah, we want to get to know.
Let's
Rich.
have some fun getting to know Rich, the person. We've gotten to know him through. I think Rich, you and I spent some time on that virtual tennis symposium, and we were in the same groups at times in the happy hour at the end. So I feel like I know you a little bit, and we've talked a little bit about music and pop culture, and you are an actor and a producer. This may come up in the third set. CB1, what do you got? We got some fun questions.
Okay, Rich, this is fun. You don't have to think too hard on these questions, but they can be thought-provoking.
Oh, yeah.
So who's the first band you saw in concert? First band?
That's a band you may have not ever heard of. It's a British band called Status Quo.
Status Quo, 1980s college, would you say post-punk, new wave?
No. They started with the Beatles in the 60s.
Okay, 60s.
The first hit was called Pictures of Matchstick Men. And then they had hits like Rocking Around the World and stuff. It's one of my all-time favorite bands. Although I'm such a big Beatles and Stones fan, but there's one day in the year where I don't listen to one Status Quo song.
It's every day something. Hey, Pictures of Matchstick Men, I only know it as a cover by was it Cracker? Or there are a couple bands who did a great cover of that, and that's a brilliant song, melodic, and it has a Beatles vibe to it, and that's the area you're talking about. Status Quo. Great answer, Rich. Thank you.
Is there a band that you would like to have heard? You know, maybe that you are you a concert goer? Do you like to go to concerts and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
So is there?
Yeah, I've never had the chance to listen to the Beatles. I would have loved to see them live. I've seen the Rolling Stones in this country here 3 times, and it was good. I've seen the Hollies in Europe. That's another of my favorite bands. I've never seen the Kinks in the British band The Kinks. Another one of my favorite bands.
That's Ray Davies, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Who's your favorite band then of all time? Besides, I guess, Status Quo?
No. Used to be the Beatles, but that changed to the Stones. They have just a bigger body of work and more hits now and more songs. And you have to admire these guys. With one leg they are in the grave already. And they're still
You got to respect that. Hey, have you heard from the new release of Goat's Head Soup, that song Scarlet, where they did a collab with Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin?
No.
Check that song out. It's brilliant. You have the Jimmy Page guitar. Really? You have Keith with the 5 strings. You have Charlie cracking the skins. It's one of the finest songs, and it was never released on that album, Goat's Head Soup, by the Stones.
Goat's Head Soup.
That's the 73 album with with many hits like Angie, Heartbreaker, Dancing with Mr. D, all these great songs.
Okay.
Not all new releases by old performers are good. I'm a big fan of Bob Dylan, but his new release from last year, that was just not one song I liked for some reason.
I understand it was mostly just a paycheck for Zimmerman, Mr. Bob Dylan.
All right. I have an idea on this answer, but type of music, the genre that you like. Do you like rock, jazz, zydeco, classical, country or western, disco, rap, reggae?
My hobby is classical music, so opera and classical music. I listen to them all the time, every day.
Ah, no kidding.
Excellent.
What do you like to listen to on the classical side? Who's your favorite composer? Do you go old school or do you go new stuff?
Old school, always old school. I like Giuseppe Verdi, Donizetti, and so forth, the Italian masters, but French as well. I'm a big fan of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. So they have cost streaming free of charge during COVID. So I try to listen to one of their operas 3, 4, 5 times a week, and it's really good stuff. There's no better opera company in the world.
Which classical performances do you like? In addition to the opera, do you like a certain symphony, like Vienna?
Yeah. Vienna Symphony is definitely good. Berlin Symphony, New York Symphony, they're all very good. I like to listen to Beethoven, Mozart. I like all the old masters, of course.
Yeah, you mentioned Mozart, and I put that on one of our stories, and then I may have used a Wagner. Was that for Rich or for Zverev? Whichever it was.
Wagner is... I have mixed feelings about Wagner because all his work is so long.
It's
Who wants
so
to
long.
sit through an opera 5.5 hours?
So long.
Not me. That's why I only like one of his operas. It's The Flying Dutchman. It's only 2.5 hours or 2:45 minutes.
It's the Cliff Notes, Spark Notes version of Wagner.
We have a pretty highbrow guest here.
This guy's good, yeah.
All right, so next question. If you were in a band, this is going to be interesting. I don't know where we're going to go with this. If you're in a band, and you might be in a band, we don't know much about you, which band member would you like to be? Would you like to be like Mick and be the lead singer? Would you be lead guitarist, the drummer, hitting the skins, keyboards, bass guitars? Where does Rich Neher sit in the band?
I would be the drummer. I've been drumming all my life.
Oh, have you really? No kidding. Do you play in a band?
No, an armchair drummer.
Mm.
Oh. Did you get 2 pens and start going, hitting the cans?
Yeah. And an armchair conductor I'm as well.
The
I
maestro.
conduct all my...
Do you really play the drums though? Have you really do you know how to hit the trap and play the kit?
Yeah, I think I do still remember I played a little bit when I was younger. But drums, I'm a rhythm guy, so drums is the easiest for me.
Interesting.
I'd like to sing too. I sang in an opera, by the way, a few years ago.
Oh, you got to sing in an opera? Really? Which opera did you perform?
Yeah. It was in the chorus. It wasn't a main role. It was the opera Lucia di Lammermoor.
Lammermoor.
One of my favorite.
Was that there in the L.A. area? Were you in the L.A. area when you did this? Okay, yeah. Gosh, that's great.
It was in Reseda. There's a small opera company in Reseda. Very good people, very nice.
Wow.
I've done a lot of things in this area, like singing in the opera. I performed one night at the Laugh Factory. I did film and television, and had a lead role in a stage play.
Awesome. Hey, Laugh Factory, we're passionate about comedy around here. You did stand-up or improv, or was it sketch? What did you do at the factory?
It was one night of stand-up, yeah, and I had the most applause from everyone, from all performers.
What was your premise? What did you talk about? Just out of curiosity.
Germans are not funny. That was the title of my thing. Germans are not funny.
That is great. People are like...
I even had a heckler, and he was funnier than me.
Did you put him in his place?
No, I laughed so hard about what he said. But honestly, guys, I had so much applause. Everyone has 8 minutes at the Laugh Factory, and I couldn't finish my whole presentation because of so much applause.
Oh, that's great. You crammed like 5-6 minutes into it. Crowd work is the like handling hecklers, working the crowd is the lost art. I see I follow it a little bit, and I see some comics excel at it, and others are just like they have to move on and they need help with that. So I'm happy you did it so nicely. It's so
and this
cool.
man's a regular bon vivant.
He is a bon vivant. This guy, yeah.
Hey, done everything. Rich,
one line. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Love it.
Shoot.
Hit us.
My girlfriend didn't find it funny at all. It goes like this. What did the Austrians say when Arnold Schwarzenegger married Maria Shriver? Why did Arnold Schwarzenegger marry Maria Shriver?
What did they say?
And the answer: to create a bulletproof Kennedy.
Oh,
God. Ouch.
Oh, and we live here in Dallas, so
Ouch.
I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. Are you a conspiracy theorist then for the Kennedys?
No.
You know, have you ever been to Dallas and visited?
Oh, yeah.
Have you visited the 5th Floor Museum?
Yes. I've been everywhere in Dallas.
Rich, are you so you're kind of on team there was only one shooter?
I have to. I mean, give me some proof of any other theory. There's so many theories, but I have to. Yeah, don't you think?
I'm a conspiracy theorist guy. I think there's more than one. I've been up there. Sixth floor museum said fifth.
Yeah,
floor, sixth floor.
Yeah.
And I've
the fifth one, you're right, because that's where all the Zapruder film, all the real stuff's on the fifth. So yeah, that was not a slip. Yeah, nice going, CB.
But I've looked up there and I've stood in that window. And I'm thinking, man, heck of that guy taking 3 shots, something like that, in about 6 seconds, 5 seconds. But maybe he's good enough. I don't know. I could be talked into the one theory, one shooter, but. Rich seems a lot smarter than I am.
Rich is much smarter than us, but I'm the other way. I believe there's a second and a third shooter, and I'm in the process of uncovering Abraham Zapruder's film on the Djokovic ball to the throat thing last week.
That could be
so I'll let you know when I find that film, for sure, because I got all the different angles.
There was a film?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm trying to defend my boy Novak.
Yeah.
But there's no defending that guy. It was sad. We just need to move on.
Rich Neher, what was your first job? What was your very, very first job?
What a cool question.
Yeah. My very first job was actually an apprentice job, a paid apprenticeship as an electromechanic apprentice at IBM in my hometown in Germany.
This is the most German answer we've ever gotten.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very precise German answer about IBM in Germany.
Yeah, that was my first.
Sehr gut.
How old?
You know what I did? What I had to do the first week?
What was
7
it?
days. They gave me a broomstick, a broom, and I had to clean the shop every day. Yeah.
That was they were breaking you in.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like John Wooden, UCLA. The first practice was, here's how you put socks on, gentlemen.
And tie shoes.
Here's how you tie shoes. Like, because if you do this right, we can move on to the other stuff. You're not going to get blisters. Brilliant.
When are we going to shoot, Coach? Well, that comes later.
Yeah. First, you get your shoes.
You get the broom. Then you learn how to work your way up.
Machines,
right?
Yeah, technical.
What's your favorite movie, TV show? What do you like to watch?
Man, I used to watch much more TV. Now I'm all into Amazon shows and stuff. But that's a good question. When I came over here, I started to watch Miami Vice, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, mid-'80s.
Oh yeah,
big hit in
Don
85.
Johnson.
Yeah.
And shall I test you a little?
Sure.
Please.
When I was in Germany, we had American TV shows as well.
Of course.
Yeah. We watched Bonanza a lot.
Mm.
And
Yes.
77 Sunset Strip.
Oh yeah, 77 Sunset
Strip.
And Lassie and Fury and Rin Tin Tin.
Oh, I love Rin Tin Tin and Lassie too. Yeah.
So were you a fan of Baywatch and David Hasselhoff? I think he's like he's like number one in Germany, isn't he? Baywatch.
Yeah, he used to be. I don't know. But here, I'm now watching much on Amazon. I just the first season and second season of The Voice.
Oh, The Voice.
Have you heard? It's this spoof on supermen and super people, superheroes. And I found it pretty good.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, Amazon's great. I mean, I don't know how to turn on Netflix yet. So I watch what you just said, Bonanza and those kind of shows. I still watch because I can't turn on Netflix.
He does.
At my house.
He has Andy Griffith shows numbered and memorized. This guy, he's amazing.
And Hogan's Heroes.
Hey, speaking of Amazon, Rich, have you seen on Amazon Prime the Andy Murray documentary called Resurfacing?
No.
Oh, it's good.
No,
it's so good. It's so inspiring. It's about, obviously, Andy Murray, hip injury, couple different comebacks, prehab, surgery, rehab, a bit of, that miserable attitude, and he's very forthcoming about it. People at home do watch it. And if I'm not a big drinker, but I'd be absolutely wasted if you played a drinking game and had a shot of tequila every time he said, yeah, it's great.
That's it, huh? That's all he says?
I mean, it's at least 6-7 times. You're wasted at the end. Yeah, you're done. 2 hours.
Oh, I just remembered some of my favorite TV shows.
Oh,
now,
good,
I had
good.
in a moment. And years ago, my favorite show was Married with Children.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And then Charlie Sheen. What was the show called? I forgot the name.
Was it 2.5 Men?
2.5 Men. Yeah, that
That's
was
the one,
of
yeah.
the best of television.
Al Bundy to Charlie Sheen.
I like Charlie Sheen in Wall Street, and I even liked that guy's before his fall from grace. I liked his work on. There was a Taco Bell commercial. Not a lot of people know that he did the voiceover work for Taco Bell. And there was he had the great line, and he has such a good voice. I love Charlie's voice. He would say, "Burrito's so big, we had to beef up our trucks." And like the way he said it, it was like, "Are you Charlie trying to be Alec Baldwin? What are you doing? That's beautiful." And he was always known in the, I guess, voice acting community, like, "Oh, that's Sheen. Like that guy's coming into our."
I thought you were going to say it was Yokier or Taco Bell.
The
dog.
The dog said that one, yeah.
All right, Rich, next question. 4 people or more. Now, this is a minimum of 4 people you would invite to a dinner party or a soiree. I like to say soiree because I like to make it sound like I'm more.
A little more Francais, a little more French.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
At a dinner party at your house, at the Rich Neher house, besides Adrian and I, we know that you'd invite us, but who are some people maybe, would you invite Wagner? Would you invite Pavarotti? Anybody that would, and it can be anybody from historical times, way back in the day to, current day.
Yeah, it can be tennis, non-tennis,
Sure.
and inter-era, anything. Go for it, Rich.
Not Wagner, but certainly Giuseppe Verdi.
Verdi.
Invite him. Yes, he would be one of them. I would also, if I have another dinner party with 4, I would invite the Rolling Stones.
Oh, sure.
All 5 of those guys, maybe 6, because Brian, Mick, all those guys too.
Yeah, but definitely Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Charlie Watts. These are my 3 favorite Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
There's another gentleman I would invite to a party. His name is Jay Winnick. Jay Winnick is a author of some of the best books ever written about American history.
Really?
And he wrote, for instance, April 1865, and he wrote The Great Upheaval about America and the birth of the modern world.
Really?
Really, really good writer, an outstanding writer. I wish I could write like this guy. This is really something.
I'm going to check this out. Jay Winnick and CB1, the man next to me, is a massive Civil War buff. I bet you'll love it because April 1865
That's
is
when they signed the
Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's why I was sitting there. I was racking my brain there real fast, going, "Okay, what was going on there in 1865 in April?" Yeah, and that's exactly
April.
right.
April was there were so many decisions were made that led to the end of the war. I'm just now reading. I just got it in the mail. A book from Bill O'Reilly called "Killing England."
Yeah,
and this will be interesting as well.
Is that a good book?
Yeah, and I got his "Killing Crazy Horse" as well.
Right.
So I'm interested in this old American history.
If you're interested in history, the one book that I would recommend is Empire of the Summer Moon. It talks about the Comanches and the state of Texas, how it was formed and what all went on. Have you read that book?
Empire of the Summer Moon?
That's correct. Yes, that Empire.
No,
of
I haven't.
Yeah, that's
writing it.
Writing it down. That is an unbelievable book. I hope they do a movie about it. It talks about Cynthia Ann Parker, Quanah Parker, what happened out here in Texas and how Texas really got formed, how Mexico really misled immigrants to come to Texas and get free land, which the Comanches didn't agree to that treaty. And so you talk about, it's an interesting book, and I'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
Empire of the Summer Moon. It's an excellent read.
It'll be.
Love it, Rich. Good.
East Coast, West Coast, Rich? Are you? I have a feeling.
Yeah, you've lived in Philly, San Diego, and L.A., so give us your preference.
Oh man, I like both. I've been to 49 states in this country, and many are nice. California is nice, but it's not my favorite area, I have to admit. I like so many other states, from Florida to Colorado. New England is beautiful. I even like the states up there, Illinois, Michigan, beautiful.
Midwest.
I've been down in Louisiana. I loved Louisiana. I loved Texas, except for the stink when you drive through it.
That's West
all
Texas.
Those big cattle ranch.
Ooh, that smells like money, Rich. Come on, that's money.
Yeah. But I've been everywhere, and this is the greatest country to travel through, I must say. So,
especially by train or car. This is an amazing place to travel through.
Another great country to travel through is Canada. I've done the trip from Ontario to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole North America is such a beautiful area.
Amazing, diverse, and resource rich.
What's the one country, just out of curiosity, that you haven't? I mean, it's one state that you haven't been to.
Alaska.
The furthest,
really?
yeah. Oh, you've been to Hawaii, but not Alaska. Interesting.
Several times to Hawaii. Visited the USDA section there several times.
Oh, good, yeah.
There isn't much going on in the Alaskan Tennis Association, I don't think, is there? There's probably about 20 people.
I actually hit with a guy who was a tennis pro at one of the nicer clubs in, I believe it was Anchorage itself, not the capital, but main city. And he coached a high school team, and he is, maybe not as welcoming as Rich is recommending, but when it came to tennis, this guy had a cottage industry of high school players, and he just became this prolific, amazing high school coach, and of all places, Alaska, where their tennis season, their outdoor season might be 6 weeks. It's
Maybe.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because indoor courts, they have them, but they're very expensive. So they would do practice at 6:30 in the morning or 10:30 at night when the members are done with it. Pretty amazing, though. So let's all go to Alaska one day.
Yeah. I want to do a cruise there.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, they do those smaller ones. They do the huge ones, too, obviously, that leave from Vancouver, maybe Victoria, but certainly Vancouver, and they go up, and the weather is volatile and crazy, but you will see killer whale, like orcas. You will see all that stuff there, and that's one of my favorite parts of the world, Rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's up?
What's
I'm reading terrible things about orcas lately.
Oh, really?
Attacking boats, ships, and stuff.
The orca whale?
Yes. Orcas, yeah. I forgot where it was, up north from here. Orcas attacking boats that I don't know what kind of boats.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, we got to read up on that. Yeah.
So are you a mountain or a beach guy?
I'm a mountain and a beach guy. I can't make up my mind. I love the beach, though. Love the beach, love the mountains, same thing.
So are you a beach guy, like warm beach, or like maybe like at L.A. around there? I know the water's a little chilly, or Santa Monica and around there, or more like, I'm thinking beach more like Hawaii.
Like Caribbean or Hawaii or
like
Costa Rica. Yeah.
I'm more like a Florida type warm beach guy, yes.
Warm, yeah.
Yeah, the Destin area? That's a pretty nice area. Have you ever been over to
Destin?
Destin?
We're thinking of maybe moving to Hawaii. To Miami, Florida.
Oh, South Florida, yeah.
That'd be nice.
To
retire down there. We could take tennis club business down there. I don't think it matters where you live.
No,
really.
Tennis is pretty huge
Pretty big
in
down
Miami
there.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it doesn't matter where I live.
Right.
Sunrise or sunset? Are you a guy that likes to get up in the morning, or do you like to stay up late and kind of see the sunset?
I'm a morning guy. I'm up between 5 and 6 o'clock.
5 and 6, wow. Are you exercising, or are you just waking up, kind of reading the paper, kind of seeing what's going on?
Yeah. The first half hour every morning I spent trying to learn some Spanish on Duolingo, this app.
Yeah, right on your phone.
Yeah, and then I go online and see what's going on and watch the news.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're How long have you been learning Spanish?
Oh man, a year and a half now. Not getting any.
Well, all I know is "Donde el baño." That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to know is where's the bathroom.
Yeah.
Or cerveza.
At the moment, a lot of exercising in the evening because I have a rotator cuff tear, and I didn't want to go through the surgery, so physical therapy and a lot of swimming. And I do in the evening when I'm done with my writing work, I go and watch some of the TV shows and do exercising during that watching TV.
Oh, that's great.
I also have have a Gene King's iCoach here in my office.
Oh, I love the iCoach. Yeah, I have one in my garage. And when you exercise in front of the television, are you sitting, standing, using bands or weights or balls? What do you, a med ball?
I'm standing. I'm using bands and weights. Yes.
Excellent.
What's your favorite season? Are you a summer guy, fall, winter, spring?
I'm a fall guy. I like the fall.
Fall, interesting. So
I'd love to go back to England one day and watch the foliage there.
I've heard that's really fascinating. It's really pretty. I've never been up there and seen about this time. It's actually probably about right now, starting up. Probably about up there, up in Maine, Vermont. Up in that area right now. That's about the time that all that good foliage is happening. What's your favorite holiday? What do you like? What's your?
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Interesting.
That's a neat answer. We get a lot of guests who say that. Give us some reasons why.
Well, cooking is one of my hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So to cook a turkey is great for me. I love it, and all the side dishes and trimmings. And I love Thanksgiving turkey. I rarely have turkey outside of Thanksgiving, so I always look forward to that.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is a great time. It's just fun to get family together and just kind of all gather around the table and appreciate being thankful for what we have. We do have a lot to be thankful for. Is there an equivalent holiday? Is there a Thanksgiving over in Germany? Did you all celebrate? No, not like we do.
No, the favorite holiday in Germany would probably be Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a white Christmas, right?
Yeah, it's often a white Christmas.
Yeah, you guys get snow. Yeah, even in the south. In fact, more in the south, maybe.
Yeah, but I was born right in the middle, near Frankfurt, and we often have white Christmas. Yes.
It's always interesting. I've been down to the Australian Open a couple of times. It's around Christmas season down there, but it's always warm. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not a white Christmas, because I always think we're in the northern hemisphere, so we're always at least chilly in Christmas time.
Even Texas, yeah.
Yeah, but then you go down to Australia, they're going to the beach at Christmas time, so
they're having a coconut water.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of interesting to think, wow, what would it be like for them? Would Perry Como, Bing Crosby singing "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas"? Oh, I'm dreaming. Would they be doing that down there? It's probably not. They probably don't think about that.
Probably not.
No. Yeah.
They would be singing about the what's it called, the wallaby. No, there's some famous Australian song about this on animals.
There's
Matilda.
Waltzing Matilda is there. Yeah.
Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah. Beautiful song.
You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Yeah, that's a classic Australian song. What do you like to do in your spare time besides cooking?
In my spare time, writing. I write film and television scripts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to write a new TV pilot right now. I'm beginning to write a stage play as well, and work on my feature script that has won a lot of awards all over the world, but no one has bought it yet, so I may have to do some more work on it. And writing, reading, music, cooking, eating, drinking.
That's great. Hey, while we're on the subject of you writing for TV, tell us about how things have changed with the technology and streaming and OTTs, and how that has affected you as a screenwriter.
I'm I'm only a beginning screenwriter, so I picked up screenwriting like 6 years ago, and so I haven't written a lot. But I understand the industry is changing a lot because of all the streaming. Television is king right now. A lot of writers write just pilots, and so many of these new companies are buying them up. It's more difficult. I understand it's more difficult to sell a feature film, drama, script, as opposed to a TV pilot in certain genres, like, for instance, horror. Horror is popular, and comedy is still popular, and so forth. So things are changing because of the streaming services that are out there.
We've got a fun question here from Nick Smith, who's listening on our Facebook feed. You mentioned, of course, growing up in Germany as a young football player. Tell us who you think is the finest German footballer of all time.
That's an easy question. There's no finer no finer football player ever in the whole world than Franz Beckenbauer.
Beckenbauer. He just had, didn't he? I think he just had a birthday, and I'm lucky enough as a soccer and tennis fan who grew up in New York. He played as one of the captains on the NASL New York Cosmos when I was a little kid. So that was one of those names that I quickly learned how to pronounce and spell, and that was one of my faves too. Do anything with the ball, right?
Yeah, but I like Messi too, by the way, and there's others. But Beckenbauer was a real magician on the ball. That's what they called him, the magician.
Magician, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't play well in Lawton, Oklahoma. We didn't know much about soccer at that time, or football.
In the late 70s, yeah.
Not much. First time I learned about soccer was 1976, maybe. And I was 16. I really didn't know about soccer. Unfortunately, it didn't play a lot in Oklahoma. I mean, ours was football. So.
Well, in many European countries, like Germany, England, Italy, Spain, soccer is so ingrained in the society. It's unbelievable. It's such a big part of their life.
Yeah, it's like football here in this area is Friday night lights.
The high school ball, and Saturdays with the college.
Then we got the Cowboys on behind us. So, I mean, it's this part of the country where I grew up is American football versus and I recognize the greatness of soccer now. I mean, it's fun to watch. I love to watch the Olympics and World Cup. When it's on, because it's fun to kind of see all these great countries. And I was over in Wimbledon in 2008, and World Cup was going on. Oh my gosh, you would. It was just amazing to see the passion. All those little pubs and people. I mean, they were looking so forward to every game. It wasn't just because England was in there, but it was about all the matchups, and it was fun to see the passion that those people. I mean, that was huge business in those pubs back in 2008, and I remember that distinctly. Watching and talking to people about, because I was fascinated. I hadn't really ever been around anything like that. So it would be fun to be from like Germany and have such a great tradition in European soccer, or to be able to grow up in something like that. So that's Franz Beckenbauer. So
I was lucky enough at the end of the 70s. I worked in England and used to live in London. And I worked for a German company. They manufactured some medical treatment devices, and many of the soccer clubs in England, Premier League, and in the Scottish League were my clients. So I was going in and out of Manchester United, Tottenham, and Everton, and all these Liverpool, all these clubs.
All these famous names, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best time.
I'm sure you went to Wembley a few times then and watched a few games.
Yeah, I remember I went to what is this one club in London? I forgot the name. So they had their weekly game, Saturday game, and I was in the locker rooms with the team, and we all left and there were people everywhere, and they wanted autographs. So I was in line with all the players, so I gave everyone my autograph too.
Why not?
They're still thinking today, who the heck was that?
Who's this Rich Neher? Who's this German guy signing for us? Speaking of German footballers, our friend Nick Smith also added, when you mentioned Franz Beckenbauer, he says, I hope Schweinsteiger did not hear your answer. So, and we'll get confirmation if Schweinsteiger is listening to the podcast.
Right.
Not tonight, but later on. Yeah, like
Right.
produced version later on.
Well, they are about 8 hours
No, we're
ahead.
just going to send it to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, Rich, we're heading to the home stretch. I got a few tennis questions, and then we'll ask you the big question for the very end: indoor tennis or outdoor tennis? Number one, are you an indoor tennis guy or an outdoor tennis?
Outdoor tennis.
Outdoor.
Like hard court, clay court, grass.
Yeah, court.
Hard
We
court.
have hard court here. Very few clay courts around where I play.
What's your favorite tournament? What's your favorite tournament?
Been to the U.S. Open twice. Liked it. Would love to go to Wimbledon. I think that's my all-time favorite.
You didn't go to Wimbledon when you lived in London, huh?
No. You know, I only started to be interested in tennis when I started to play, when I came over here in '85. That's when I never touched a tennis racket in Germany.
Interesting. Now it's a major part of your life.
Yeah, and you're a major part of tennis's life, which is neat. Yeah.
Do you like to watch tennis on TV? Are you a tennis fan? Yeah. Well,
yes, I do.
So did you watch basically the last couple of weeks every match on the tube?
No, I don't have time to watch every match.
Yeah.
But I watched the men's final today. I didn't watch the women's final, although I'm a big fan of women's tennis. But I didn't fit in my schedule. But yes, I love to watch tennis on TV, always.
What did you think about the match today? Just out of curiosity, what did you think about team finally coming through the? Was it team time?
Yeah. I was happy that Sasha Zverev didn't smash his racket. He is this kind of guy. But he had the match on his racket. He was serving for the set, wasn't he? For the match, wasn't he?
He was
for the match, yeah.
And I liked it. I liked the competition. It was good competition. It wasn't the biggest match I've ever seen in my life, but it was good competition. So two Europeans fighting it out, I love that kind of thing.
Looked like they got a little careful at the end. Looks like both of them were trying not to lose the match instead of early on. They were just trying to win the match. That's just me. That looked at.
Yeah, no, you're right. And they were tired too, both of them.
Yeah, I mean they've been playing. That's their 7th match in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they've been on the court for how many hours? I mean, yeah, that's a heck of an effort, to be able to play.
Yeah, Sasha should be not too hard on himself. Although of course he gave it away.
Sure.
But he's coming away with a nice paycheck too.
Oh,
I mean, I think it's 800 something.
I think it's 1 point something million, and the winner gets almost $3 million.
Yeah.
So and the runner-up in his case about half of the $3 million, and he's so young, he'll have plenty of time, and God bless him, he almost won his first Slam final, which is very rare. And of course Roger did that, and Rafa did that. I mean, like that's the thing that all-time greats do, and some people are more like Andre or Lendl or Andy Murray, where I consider all three of those guys knocking on the door maybe of all-time greats, and they all lost 3 or 4 Slam finals and then won one.
I think you have to learn how to win.
So I think that's what's happened with Dominic, where he has lost 3 and he barely got this one. Sasha, maybe he loses this one, maybe he loses another one, whatever, but that guy's going to be in there. And then I'm excited to see people like Stefanos or Daniil Medvedev push these guys, not just the big 3, but push some of these guys. Rich, who are some of your favorites of the young guys not in today's final?
I like Medvedev, always have.
Yeah.
Tsitsipas is good. There's some good players everywhere. I can't see any of the American young guys to be close to Grand Slam champions in the near future. There are some women out there that are pretty good. So there's hope for the American women's tennis right now. But there's lots of good young guys coming out of Spain as well, Canada. So there's hope. There's some good people coming up.
Yeah,
they all just, at the moment, they all have to learn how to keep Djokovic, Rafa, and Roger away from the Grand Slam.
They got to figure out. This is why I believe in a second shooter on that tennis ball. I believe there's some inner workings somewhere conspiring to make a new slam champ. And speaking of, you mentioned young Spanish guys. There's a guy, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, and this is the most pan-European name for a Spanish guy. And that kid's going to be good. And who's the other one? Emil Rusevori, Finnish guy, who has impressed me also. So some names to watch. Do you see any SoCal juniors that you're impressed with?
I don't know any SoCal juniors, to be honest.
I see.
I'm not into junior tennis here that much. But speaking of Spanish, was a little bit disappointed with Muguruza.
Yeah.
I always thought she has the potential to win another one, but she is not up to snuff lately.
Speaking of win another, what about Serena? Do you think she'll ever win another slam?
Yeah, I think she has it in her to win another one. She just has to get more stamina, I think, and she will. I'm convinced she will another one because this elusive number 24 is so big for her. It would be for me if I was in her shoes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, seems like she's right there, and just seems. I don't know if her training has been up to what she did in the past. It seems like maybe there's other distractions out there. I don't see her training. Maybe I hope she dedicates.
More total things that she can win another one.
What sport would you have played if it wasn't tennis? Did you like soccer, growing up soccer? I guess that soccer would be an interesting sport to have played. Any other sports out there that you did when you were a young guy?
I loved playing with marbles.
Marbles? We haven't had that one before, have we? Wow.
I don't know any other sport that we could have played apart from tennis and soccer.
Just tennis and soccer, yeah.
But tennis. In order to really excel tennis, and this is my opinion for 20 years now, you have to have a great hand-eye coordination, and as Andy Murray's mom said in your webinar, remember,
she said foot-eye coordination.
Eye coordination as well. The reason why so many tennis players excel when they hit the golf ball, when they hit baseball and all the other ball sports is because of the hand-eye coordination. And a very good baseball player has the same hand-eye coordination, and when they pick up a tennis racket, they will excel as well.
They will connect for sure. Yeah.
So if you can test this with the juniors, that's the only test I would do with juniors, hand and eye coordination, and then decide, yes, this junior has talent.
Great point. All right, last question. Here it is. So we spent a lot of time with you, and we appreciate that to this point. This will be the creme de la creme. This is the icing on the cake here. So if you could wave the magic wand, the magic tennis wand, and you could make a change or changes in the great game, Rich Neher, you're the commissioner, and nobody can take anything away from this decision. Do you make any changes? Do you like it the way it is? Is there anything that you'd like to add to, take away? Your thoughts?
Yeah. I would take the second serve away to make it more interesting for everyone.
They've actually done this for Pancho Gonzalez, or to thwart Pancho Gonzalez. Of course, he won even more because he was such a badass server. But that's an interesting, that's a neat one, because there would be a lot of single faults, but there would be a lot of, not a lot of serve botting, a lot of either a huge serve, but you can take that calculated risk, or you make the hybrid second first serve, or just a second serve is all you're doing, and we'll probably, with Rich's plan, Commissioner Rich's plan, I think we'd see a lot of breaks, which we saw tonight anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. I was amazed how how many times these guys returned really good serve.
They really
Sometimes-
did. Yeah, and of course, Sasha doesn't always serve huge, but it was impressive how many returns there were from both sides.
Correct.
Yeah, team was standing almost. He could call lines. You know, he was at least a foot away from that lines person. I thought he was going to hit him on his take back with his racket. I was like, wow, can you get any further back? Maybe you want to sit in the stands.
Yeah,
I mean, he played way back.
But Sasha in his last service game, he had a first serve of 86 miles per hour, and the second serve was 68.
Oh, I saw that.
I saw one that was 72, but you've uncovered a 68. I must have been not
You didn't see
listening.
that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
68.
One of our friends, in fact, a recent guest on this show, Jason Marshall, texted me and he said, that was a Sarah Irani serve. Because that was his response. I was like, I actually hit second serves harder than that. This is crazy. Maybe not under pressure. And he's like, that was a level below you, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 68.
Hey, I remember not too long ago at a tournament, I forgot what tournament it was. They had one of those speed serve boxes where you can come and serve, and they record the speed for you.
Uh-huh.
And the 3 jock players, they came up in suits. They came from their office. They put the jackets down, and they served. One was doing 85, the other one was doing 82, and the other one was doing 90, and they felt so good, and they were complimenting each other. They were high five. And then came the tennis pro from San Diego. She is 5'3", and she looked at them, and then she went up, and her first serve was 115.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then another one was 105 and 110, and she didn't say anything. She just left.
Drop the racket, drop the mic, and just see you boys.
Drop the mic. And some of these boys are a foot taller than her. That is awesome. It's a statement, testament to technique and timing and a flowing, beautiful swing, no matter how tall or short you are.
So well, one serve. That's the we've never had that one either. That's been a new one. Well, we've had some other things. People talk about more money for professionals to other different rule changes, but not or the let. Maybe take out the let. We've had that one, but not the one serve. That would be interesting to just have one serve out there. I don't know if. I guess tennis was always with 2 serves. I don't know if it's
except those barnstorming tours where they wanted to conspire against Pancho Gonzalez. That was it. Other than that, and of course in practices, I know I sometimes run the practice or all right, boys, tiebreakers, 1 serve only, that kind of thing. Sure. And it's not all day. It's it's 15 minutes. It's really, but it's. I
like more rule. I like a rule that was in effect in 1600s. King, I forgot the English king who was this tennis fan, and he played in the castle. They had this courtyard where they played tennis, and Henry VIII or something, I forgot. And the rule was, when his opponent scored a point, he had to wait for the king to lift his hand. When the king lifted the hand, then the point was good.
Oh.
If the king wasn't happy, the point was not good.
That's great.
You make the rules up as you go along.
And I know Rich is struggling to figure out if it was Henry the this or Henry the that. I think that was Henry the 4-0.
Henry,
but in kind of a handicap that is.
Right.
It is a big equalizer.
Yeah, right. If the king didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
The hand.
Right. It's kind of like Willie Nelson playing golf. I heard, but they asked Willie, what was par on the course or something? He goes, well, it's whatever I shoot.
It's whatever I.
The king, how'd you do? Well, I won. And you better let the king win.
He's undefeated.
Right.
Well, Rich Neher, you've given us so much humor and substantive material tonight. I hope we all kind of learn from you and continue to learn from you. I want to keep in touch with you, and I wish you really, really a lot of success in your journey. And if you get a moment, send us a copy of that book. I have a man I want to send it. I want to share it with after, of course, I read it.
Yeah, and also
send me the address.
Yeah, please
send me the address, both of you.
Of course, buddy. Of course. Thanks, Rich.
Tell us also, too, once again, where we can find more information. If listeners, we've had some listeners, on here this evening. Tell them once again where they can find you at.
tennisclubbusiness.com is the best address to find my newsletter and to find information about the book.
Good. Sounds good. And I know your email address is Rich Neher, which is spelled Neher, at tennismediagroup.com.
And
correct.
And where are we playing Friday night tennis next Friday with the California Social Tennis Network? Where are we going?
You're coming to Weddington Tennis in Studio City, California.
Studio City.
There we go.
Love it.
Everybody will be there.
Love it. Rich Neher, you're a delightful man and a mensch,
sir.
And thank you so much. You sleep well and have a great night, because I know you're getting up at 5 in the morning. And,
yes.
man, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rich.
I had more fun than listening to Giuseppe Verdi.
High praise.
Wow,
high praise.
That's awfully nice. Thank
you.
Rich. Thank you. Have a great night in L.A.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Very nice there,
CB1,
AJ.
that was a blast.
Man,
that guy is amazing.
Oh, man, Rich is great. I knew he'd be a good guest. We've booked him a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, wow, he'd be an interesting guest. And sure enough, he didn't disappoint at all. So thank you very much, Rich, for your time. We took about an hour and a half.
Yeah, maybe a little more. That was wonderful, and I'm happy you all listened all the way. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you all very much.
Well done.
Well, should we cue up old Jimmy again to exit this episode?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
As you're cueing it, look who's texting right there. Amazing timing.
There he is, Jimmy Campbell. I like the drums. I couldn't pass that up. I love Jimmy's exit and intro.
Yeah,
I like this song.
both of them.
Yeah, I know Jimmy doesn't necessarily think this is a great song, but I really like it. Anyway, all right. Thanks for listening, fans of the great game, for listening to Season 1, Episode 58 there. What was it what was it in German?
58.
There you go, right there. About the Net podcast. Join us next week as we'll be talking with Mark Milne.
Oh, Irish guy, or from the UK.
Aye.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to talk with him earlier, actually, at 4 o'clock. Because he's over across the pond, so we're going to have to talk to him a little earlier. And he's got a new and interesting format about the great game. And so we're interested in talking with him next week. And also join us Wednesday night over on our At the Net Instagram
page. We do tennis shorts.
Yep.
And we always joke, what's inside Craig Bell's tennis shorts?
Not much.
It's 2 legs, two questions.
Yep. 2 questions.
And one of them is topical, one of them is improv.
Yep.
And we have a great time with that. So that's At the Net Podcast Instagram.
And sometimes we have a guest or two,
Sometimes. Yeah.
Then sometimes just the two of us just talking. So, and lastly, be sure to tell a friend or friends, as we like peeps.
We like your peeps.
And hopefully they'll like us. And that's the tennis news as it
seems to us.
Good night from Dallas, Texas. Looks like the Rams are winning. We're in the 4th quarter right now, 20-17. Let's go Vaqueros. Come on, Cowboys. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. Good stuff, amigo. Yeah.